everybody. I'm Molly. Welcome to Purpose, where we are going through the Bible and reading these stories so that we can learn how to live our lives in a way that gets us closer to God and helps us to know and love God more and more so that we can get back to Him, so that we can get to heaven. And that's our reason for being on this earth. We are here in order to get back to God. We think we're here for our family and our friends and our job and our hobbies and the things we like to do. That's what we get up for every day, right? But our real purpose, our true purpose, is to know and love God more and more every day. So every morning when we wake up, we should be saying, how can I get just a tiny little bit closer to God today? How can I love Him more? How can I love other people more? Not just the people who are nice to me, but people who aren't very nice to me, the people at work who are not doing their fair share or who threw you under the bus or whatever. How am I supposed to love them? That's what the Israelites are going through. That's what they're trying to learn. We left off in the book of Joshua, chapter 3. I keep looking over to my side. I'm looking at the Bible to see what chapter we're on. Maybe I should put it in front of me. So we're on chapter 3. And the Israelites are just finally ready to cross that Jordan River to go into the land of Canaan. This was a hard fought journey. Took them 40 years, more than that, because they had to get to Mount Sinai. None of the original adults survived the journey other than Joshua and Caleb. The kids survived, and everybody who was born on the trip survived. But the original people didn't make it. It's a hard trip. It's a hard fight to get to the land of Canaan, but it's finally time. So God told Joshua to tell the people, you need to sanctify yourself. This is something big. We're doing something big here today. Sanctify yourself. What the heck does that mean? Every time we do something big in our lives, we really should sanctify ourselves. Before you go on vacation, before you make a big decision, before you start a new relationship, before you start a new job, buy a car, buy a house, whatever it is, anything big going on in your life, have a baby, have a grandchild, whatever it is, you should sanctify yourself. How do you do that? Go to church, pray, fast for a week before something big. Give a sacrifice to God and say, I'm going to do this tiny little thing for you, Lord, where I'm going to give up TV or whatever it is. And I'm doing that because I love you, God, and I'm asking that you be with me for whatever your big thing is coming up. Pray. Talk to God every day, get closer to Him. And then that'll make the big thing easier and you'll have more clarity. So, anyway, that's what He's telling them. He's telling them, sanctify yourselves. Pray. Talk to God, fast, get ready. Something big's about to happen. So, God told them how to do everything. He said that the priest, the Levites, were going to go and stand in the water, the Jordan River, which was probably like waist high, maybe. Maybe it was deeper in some parts. I don't know. They were going to go out and stand in the Jordan. They probably formed two lines, and the people like walked between them. And they were going to hold the Ark of the Covenant. So God was going to be there in the middle of the Jordan River with them as they crossed. But an amazing thing happened to him. As soon as the priest, the Levite's toes dipped into that water, it dried up. It dried up from one area to another area in a big, huge swath, and the people went across dry land. Sound familiar? Just like in the Red Sea with Moses when he parted the Red Sea, when all the chariots from Pharaoh were after him. God did it again. He dried up the water so all the people could go across nice and easy peasy. Nobody has to swim. Nobody has to get wet. You're not going to go through mud. Just going to walk across dry land. And the Levites stood there with the Ark of the Covenant until the very last person went across. Now, this is way more than just going across dry land through a river, which is pretty big, that a river stops on both sides of you, just a wall of water, and you're walking through it. That's pretty big. But it's even bigger than that. In the Bible, water is a cleansing of sin. It's baptism. Baptism is washing away the stain of original sin that our forefathers had, Adam and Eve in the Garden of Eden. It's a washing away of sin. Just like with Noah's Ark, when God came and had the big flood, Noah was safe in the ark. The ark was a church. The ark was like the Ark of the Covenant. It's where God was. He was with God in the ark. Did you know all Catholic churches? I don't know about all, there could have been some from the 70s that aren't, but most Catholic churches are designed to look like a ship, like the ark. You're in the ark. Anyway, it was about baptism. Noah was saved by the water. So these people are like being baptized. They're being cleansed of their sins and they're going over fresh new start in the land of Canaan. And when the very last person went across, the priest took the Ark of the Covenant over and the water started to flow again. Joshua picked or told each tribe to pick one person, have 12 representatives from each of the 12 tribes of Israel to come and get a stone from the middle of that river where the priest had been standing. So I guess probably before the water came back, they all went out and grabbed a rock, a memento, something for their tribe to look at. This is a rock that was right there in the middle of the Jordan River when we crossed it on dry land. So they could remember this miracle because God knows we're going to forget this stuff. So he gives us things to try to remember his miracles and the things that he does. And then Joshua went out and put 12 stones, one on top of each other, right smack dab in the middle of the river where the priests were standing. We can do something like that. You could have a little notebook full of your God things, your miracles. We all have little miracles that happen every single day. And then sometimes we have pretty big miracles that happen to us. God's not Santa Claus. He doesn't give us everything we ask for. But all of us, if you think about it, there's something that happened in your life that you know in the pit of your stomach, that was a miracle. That was a God thing. That was not just happenstance. That was a true miracle. Write it down because you'll forget it. Now, there will be people, doesn't matter how big the miracle is, there will be people who say, it was coincidence. It would have happened anyway. That wasn't God, that was just life, or whatever, and they'll poo-poo it. But you know in your gut that that was a miracle. Same thing with the New Testament. All the Pharisees and people saying, that's not a miracle, what Jesus was doing. They were miracles. So write it down. If you've had a miracle that you can remember, put it in a comment if you want, and other people can read it. Comment for this video. But anywho, so they all went across and they set up their 12 stones in the middle, and they each had their stone so they could remember what happened and so they could teach their children. Remember, that's their rules. That's the rules God gave them for this new land. Love me and only me. I'm only one God, one true God. Worship me and only me. Love each other and teach your kids to do that. Teach your kids to worship me and love each other. And so they went across, they had their stones so they could remember it. And then everybody had to get circumcised. These were all the kids who left Israel or Egypt, or the kids that were born in the wilderness. Apparently, they weren't circumcising these kids along the way, and they needed to get circumcised. So they are all going to get circumcised, which, kind of cool that they are renewing that covenant with God and breaking free completely from Egypt and their pagan ways. So they went over and they celebrated Passover in this new land, the new land of Canaan. And then Joshua had a vision. And in his vision, there was this guy standing in front of him. And Joshua says to the guy, "Hey, are you one of us or are you one of them? Are you a friend or are you a foe? Who are you? Are you on my side or are you on our enemy's side?" And the guy said, "No." "Well, whose side are you on? Are you on my side or their side?" "No." "What does that even mean?" "No. But as a commander of the army of the Lord, I have now come." Boom, Joshua fell down and worshiped him. It was an angel. He didn't answer Joshua's question, "Are you for us or are you for our enemies?" God loves everybody. God doesn't pick sides. He doesn't, it seems sometimes in the Bible like he's on Team Israel, but he's on everybody's side. He wants everybody to know him and love him. And he wants these Israelite people to teach all the folks in the land of Canaan about the one true God. He doesn't want anybody to die. He wants everybody to know him and love him. It's not about whose side he's on. It's about whose side I'm on. Am I on God's side? That's the question. That's what Joshua should have asked. Hey, am I on your side? Am I on Team God? Because it's not about whose side God's going to take, Democrat, Republican, um, this person versus that person. It's not about whose side God's on. It's about whose side I'm on. Am I on God's side? Am I going to love him above all else and love others and teach kids to do the same? That's the big thing. And God wanted everybody to join his side, like Rahab we talked about last time. She's a prostitute. She's a sinner. She is not a good person as far as, her profession goes. And yet she was the only one in that town of Jericho that gave the spies a place to stay and that helped them escape. Her and her family were saved. We're going to see that in a few minutes. And they ended up um, loving God and honoring him and worshiping him. All right, so now they're at Jericho, Rahab's city. It's a big fortified city, got a wall all the way around it. The Israelites are probably like, I don't know how we're supposed to overtake them. We don't even have any weapons or anything. So God tells them, I want you to march around the city. I want warriors up front. I want a rear guard. I want the Levitical priest in the middle carrying the Ark of the Covenant. I want 7 of them to have a horn, a ram's horn that they can blow. And every day, once a day, for 6 days, I want you to walk around the city quietly. Don't talk. Don't shout. It's not about you. It's about God. These people are not going to be afraid because you're running around screaming and shouting. They're going to be afraid because God's with you. So they quietly walked around the city every day for 6 days. That would be a mind sight. And on the 7th day, that's when they shouted. So the armed men went first in front of the ark again, and then the ark, and then they had a rear guard. Only this time, on the 7th day, they circled around it. I think it was 7 times. They went around the city, and it was a big city. 7 times, blowing their horn and shouting, screaming, yelling, shouting and continually don't stop, keep marching, keep shouting 7 times. I'm sure the people inside the city were completely freaked out. And the Lord said, don't forget Rahab. Remember, she saved you. Don't forget Rahab. So Joshua sent the 2 spies in, go get her and bring her out. So the spies went in and brought her and all of her family out. And God said, y'all are going to go in and you're going to kill everybody. Man, woman, child, everybody. Everybody in this town is going to die. Don't take any loot, nothing for yourself. All the silver, gold, and bronze, it's all going to go into a treasury for the people as a whole, for God. But you can't keep anything for your own gain. It's not about you. It's about God. It's about coming together as a people. And so that's what they did. They walked around 7 times, blowing and shouting and yelling, and the wall fell down. Now, I don't know if it literally fell down or if they just opened the door and said, we give. I don't know. It could be that the whole wall actually fell because God can do anything. And they went in and they utterly destroyed all of the city, men, women, kids, oxen, sheep, donkeys, everything. They killed everyone and they burned everything. Nothing lived. Well, that doesn't sound very godlike, does it? Killing everything and everybody? That's a hard thing to read. And God's letting them do it. He's telling them to do it. Why would God tell them to kill everybody? Well, when we read these stories, and there's going to be a lot more like this, especially in Judges, we have to remember the time that they were living in. It was a violent, violent time where everybody was killing everybody. God knows the big picture. He has a plan. We have to trust him even when it doesn't make sense to us. We have to trust that he loved the people of Jericho. He wants everybody to love him and be with him. And they had a chance when Rahab did. They had a chance to protect those men, and they didn't. They didn't choose God. And then we also have to read this spiritually, where spiritually you can't just mostly get rid of sin. You have to root it all out, every little bit, down to the last tiny little particle. You can't mostly be good. We have to be good all the time in all circumstances, which is like impossible, but we have to try. And and as long as the Israelites are trusting in God and doing what he says, they'll be okay. But of course they don't. The very next chapter, chapter 7, they're going to go to, I'm going to call it AI. I don't know. That's the name of the town, AI. They're going to go in and they spied out the land and they said, we can take them. Much smaller than Jericho. We don't even need all the men. That's how good we are. So they didn't take all of the fighting men. And God told him, don't take any loot for yourself, just for the people as a whole and for me. And they went in, AI wiped them out, killed 36 Israelites. This is the first time the Israelites have died in war, in a battle against someone else. Innocent men died here. And Joshua was like, what just happened? I thought you were with me, God. What happened? I don't understand this at all. Well, what happened was somebody stole. Somebody took something. Achan was his name. Joshua found out about it. Achan fessed up to it. He said, yeah, I saw this beautiful mantle and 200 shekels of silver and a bar of gold that weighed 50 shekels, and I wanted them, so I took them. And I hid them outside in the ground by my tent. I took the stuff. They stoned him. He died. He was responsible for 36 people dying because he didn't listen. And so God said, all right, now that you've fessed up, now that you've given the stuff, oh, I didn't realize I had my TV on in the background. Sorry about that. Now you can go in and you can take AI. That's the name of the town. I don't know why. And so they did. And there was a valley. Oh, I'm probably not gonna find it. There was a valley called Angkor. And Angkor is where our sin meets up with us. We all have a valley of Angkor, and I'm not going to find it now because I'm in a hurry, but we all have a valley of Angkor, which is when our sin finally catches up with us and everybody finds out that we're not perfect and we did something wrong. And everybody has that. The key is to confess it. Because Achan confessed, I'm sure he's with God right now. There's consequences, they stoned him, which that seems a little harsh, but that's the way it was. But as long as we confess our sins and we are truly sorry and we don't want to do it again, that's how we get out of the valley of Angkor. And in Hosea chapter 2, verse 15, it says that. or start with 14. Therefore, behold, I will allure her and bring her into the wilderness and speak tenderly to her. And there I will give her vineyards and make the valley of Achor, I was saying Achor, a door of hope. So our valley of Achor becomes a valley of hope. When we're beat down and everything we've done wrong, everybody knows about it, and we're feeling this big, that's a door of hope. Why? Because now we can go to God and say, I'm so sorry. I trust you. I trust you. I trust you. I trust you. And He will come to our rescue. This is not easy stuff. Getting through this life is not an easy journey. It's hard and it's humbling and it's scary. But we just have to trust that God knows what He's doing. And we have to choose whose side we're on. Are you on God's side or not? And if you're on God's side, you just have to trust Him, even if you don't understand it and you don't like it. I don't want all these people dying, all the people of Jericho. That seemed a little much for me. I'm not God. I trust Him and I'm going to follow Him because I believe in Him. Well, I hope you all have a good day today. And when we come back, we'll find out how these Israelites are doing with conquering the land of Canaan. Have a great day today, everybody. Bye-bye.